Do you need to take supplements? Is it worth it to take supplements? Will supplements cure you of all disease and make you live to 200? We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about health, wellness. Maybe you have a goal to gain muscle. Maybe you have a goal to lose weight. Maybe you have a goal of just general health. So today we're going to talk about some factors into how to be healthy. If you want to gain muscle, if you want to lose weight, all of these things. Maybe you have kids that are going to hockey. What should they be taking? So this is a very diverse topic. So I've got Pablo with me. He's an expert in all things ingredients and supplementation in the store here at Supplement King. And I just want to encourage all of you to listen in and kind of, get a little educated on supplements, because it is a very confusing, it's a widespread conversation now. And you hear a lot of things, but you don't know what's really true or what brand you should take. It's all very confusing. So we'll break it down for you and provide real world solutions in store that you can take. And of course, if you don't remember anything of this video, remember this one thing. You can always go into the store, have a conversation with any representative in the store. They will never lead you astray. They will ask questions. They'll figure out what your goal is. That's what we do in store, right, Pablo? We train on goal. And what your goal is determines what recommendations we'll provide. So if you remember anything, it is just come into the store and we'll figure out what supplements fit best for your goal or the goal of your kids or whatever is going on in your life. So
That's what we do.
That's what we do. Yes, sir. So Pablo, I guess before we start, what's a general thesis, 50,000 foot view? I'm going to put you on the spot. My apologies in advance. But what is supplementation to you?
Supplementation is really a way to, enrich your diet that you're having. Helps you create rituals that we'll go into more detail later on. And it's really there, it's in the name. Supplementation. It's meant to give you an edge and increase your chances of meeting those goals. So what we do here, we help you fuel your goals.
Yeah, I love that. And I think when I think of supplementation, it's supposed to be complementary. And I think where the confusion and the misrepresentation is people think supplementation is the answer in and of itself. And that often leads people to failure more so than success. And there is the rare circumstance where someone takes a supplement, has the result they want, but that's not the average. I think
it's
for
not be the average person.
Yeah, I think for most people, it's basically what I consider a pyramid of like a hierarchy of how to achieve any goal that you really have, whether it's health or losing weight or gaining weight. And of course, there's experts in the field too of these areas, so it can get a little bit more complicated. But for the sake of this video, we're going to keep it a little 50,000 foot view and keep it more supplementation based. But bear with me. The bottom of the pyramid is diet. At the end of the day, diet is king. It's probably 90% of the results that you will get in life. Again, there is the rare person that just suddenly, they take this supplement and they just lost 20, 30 pounds, or they gain 20, 30 pounds, or they just feel better or whatever. Maybe it's placebo effect too.
If you think that's going to be you,
fantastic.
I wouldn't bet on it, but
yeah. Maybe the genetic lottery or something, right? Like, congratulations. But I think for most of us, we need to make sure our diet is on point. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of different diets out there. One thing, I'll get your thoughts on this in a second here, Pablo, but for me, I think it's very individualized. I think it's based on genetics. I think it's based on any potential autoimmune things you might have going on. At the end of the day, for me, for example, I did a genetic test, and it said, oh, well, you should have whole foods, balanced, maybe a Mediterranean diet. Like, maybe that's a little bit more specific. But, in this genetic test, it also said, well, I should probably take vitamin D. I should probably be mindful of iodine. Like, it gave me very specific data that I can run with. So we don't sell genetic, testing like that. And not yet. But just FYI, when it comes to diet, there's a lot of conversation pieces out there. I think it's a very individualized conversation. Talk to an expert. Pablo, am I missing anything? Anything to add?
I think you said a key word, which is balance.
Yeah.
Right. So we need to balance everything. We don't want to lean too much into supplementation. Most of it, like you said, should come from whole foods.
Yeah.
Your dieting. The last part should be more of as a tool to use more than anything.
Yeah. So diet is, again, this hierarchy of a triangle, if you will. Bear with me. Diet's the bottom; it's 90% of it, and then you have exercise, which I believe is like the other 95 to 9, the other 5 to 8% of it is really exercise. And again, this can be quite the individualized conversation, right? Whether someone wants to be in the weight rack or cardiovascular exercise, or maybe they're into martial arts or something like that.
You enter into, everybody is different, but now you add goals to that, which individualizes it even further, right? So we're going to have supplements for specific people, diets for specific people.
Yeah.
Which again is where the supplement advisors come in.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point, Pablo. So thank you for that. I think at the end of the day, diet and exercise, your life's going to be better. So even if you never, and I have a bias to say, hey, come into the store, like come spend money at Supplement King, right? But in all reality, if your diet and exercise was on point, you'd probably be fine. You'd probably be just fine. I think the reality, though, is it's really tough to get everything your body needs just from diet alone. It's really difficult. For example, it's hard to have a piece of salmon every single day to get, say, your omega-3s. So you have a lot of options in terms of exercise, right? But at the end of the day, exercise, diet, when those two are on point, supplementation becomes more complementary, right? It's really hard to get everything in your diet every single day, right? Mm-hmm. Like omega-3s, right? What are some good sources of omega-3s in food?
Well, fish is the one that comes to my mind.
There's some bread
right.
Bread.
Who's getting fish really every single day, right? Fish is expensive, right?
Yeah, it comes at a huge cost, whereas you can come in and get the supplement of omega-3 for a much lower cost than having a piece of salmon every day all the time.
Too, right? And you don't need to cook a whole fish gourmet salmon. You can just take your omegas.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. They come with fatty acids, so your body absorbs it more as well.
But at the same time, who can actually eat a fish every single day? For me, I'll go on like a salad kick. I'll have a salad for lunch every single day for like 90 days straight. And at the end of the 90 days, it's really hard for me to stomach another salad.
That's true. I do love my sushi, but every single day.
It's a little much. So this is where, for example, omega-3s come in. It makes a ton of sense to supplement omega-3s, right? Vitamin D, right? It's kind of the same thing. Like
95% of Canadians are deficient in that vitamin
It's crazy.
D. It affects your dopamine levels, your mood, your energy.
Yeah.
If you don't have the energy to go to the gym, like the pyramid, if the foundation's not there.
Yeah.
How can the top parts make it?
Well, and it's January, it's minus 20, it's cloudy and snowy.
Yeah.
You're not getting vitamin D that day. You have to supplement.
Mm-hmm.
So getting to the top, so we had exercise. I'll hit reset here. We had diet, we had exercise, and at the very top we have supplementation. Mm-hmm. So if your diet and exercise isn't great, you might not get the best ROI or best bang for your buck spending some money on supplementation. I think that's a pretty fair statement, right?
100%.
Yeah. So can you have cheat meals? I think so.
It's healthy actually to have some cheat meals.
Right?
Yeah,
right. Me and you have had a couple of cheat meals
just
a few times,
just
right?
A few.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's allowing yourself to still be human at the end of the day. Do I put sugar in my coffee? Yeah. Rain, thank you, Rain, for
keeping us
contributing.
alive and fresh.
Yeah. So, but we're still human at the end of the day. We still have our vices. Don't get me wrong, but most of the time, 90+% of the time, my diet and exercise, I'm very regimented and consistent there, and then that makes supplementation just so much more effective, right? So we talked about vitamin D.
Yeah, we're talking about
omega-3s.
Magnesium, I know, is something you're a big fan of. Regulates blood pressure, reduces cancer cell growth, gives you energy. It's a lot of little things that we don't think about, when we're in our younger 20s or 30s, but later on, it will really have an impact on your life.
Yeah, and even magnesium, it's in a lot of sleep supplements because magnesium actually, there's a lot of brain function health benefits that happen from magnesium as well. It helps you sleep. Magnesium, I think, is just a cornerstone supplement to general health. And then you have, of course, a multivitamin as well to try and get a wide range of things. So like I mentioned earlier, I did this genetic test, which it can be a little pricey, so it may not be for everybody, but it said, oh, I need iodine. So I actually went out and got a multivitamin, and it's in here in the store, that had iodine. It had everything. It was a very well balanced multi, perfect. So I bought that multivitamin based on data of me, and I think that's very empowering at the end of the day. So yes, the representatives in the store can still help you, but there is tools out there that are available to help you pick what supplements you should be taking. I think vitamin D is a pretty safe bet if you live in Canada.
Oh yeah. Like I said, 95%, if you're part of that 5%,
That's huge.
That's amazing. But I think of all the workers, because of their hours, they leave for work when it's dark outside. And they leave their work and the sun's out.
Yeah.
Or the sun's
3
on.
o'clock.
Yeah.
3 o'clock sundown.
There could be a few days where you don't see the sun at all, and you're not
Yeah.
getting your vitamin D at all.
Yeah. And I mean, vitamin D it's practically a hormone, isn't it? Like it's so much more than just a vitamin. So vitamin D helps with testosterone, and it helps with, even for ladies, like testosterone is a pretty important thing for general health for men and women.
Because they have lower doesn't mean they don't have any at all. It still has its uses.
Yeah, absolutely. And so
We're going to take actually a minute break.
So we talked about exercise, we talked about diet, right? Diet and exercise, kind of the hierarchy pyramid, and then supplementation being really complementary. We talked about how diet, it's really hard to get everything in a great diet. So Pablo, I guess I'll ask you, what are some supplements you take in a day-to-day, right? And I guess start with maybe your goal.
Yeah.
To provide context, and then what do you take and why?
Yeah, so my goal with the gym really, it's not as much for the physical aspect of it, it's more for the mental aspect of it. So it's all about building a routine, building discipline. When I wake up at 5 in the morning, and the only way I'm able to do that is if I have the clear goal that I'm going to head to the gym right away. On my rest days, I do not wake up at 5 in the morning because I don't have that ritual or that habit to wake up that early, which is very important to me. Supplements really help me do that. For example, with pre-workout, at 5 in the morning and I'm really tired, it takes a lot more willpower to envision yourself being at the gym, spending an hour and a half there, than just harnessing the willpower to take your pre-workout. That's all I worry about in the morning. Once I take my pre-workout, I don't really have a choice unless I want to sit in bed with 500 milligrams caffeine running through my body and beta-alanine making me all itchy.
Yeah.
So it really helps me build a ritual in the morning. Helps me build a habit that makes me consistent.
Yeah, and for anybody who is interested, what pre-workout are you taking?
I like trying all different ones. Later today, I'm going to try the Mammoth Shock that just came out. I'm really excited to try one. Batch 27, it's a classic. Tastes amazing. 325 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah. And
Lately,
a company out of Saskatoon.
Yeah.
So Canadian company.
Support
That's always
Canadian,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been double scooping the Alani New Witch's Brew because I love my caramel.
Wow.
And maybe it's a placebo because, the studies show that past a certain amount of citrulline malate, it doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
But
Which
let me
is
tell
what?
you-
How many grams? 8 grams?
Yeah,
10
it's
grams?
past 8-9 grams.
Yeah.
There is results, but it does start
Yeah.
to decrease
And-
by a lot.
Yeah, and citrulline malate, you don't need it for general health. It's more instant gratification in the gym, right? Get a little swole, look a little.
Yeah,
a little
again,
thick.
it does. It's a vasculator, as it
Yeah.
is blood to the muscle. It will help you, lift more. But the pump definitely doesn't help to boost the energy levels in the morning.
That's awesome. And then, so your goal is really to gain weight, to get stronger, to get a little bigger, right? And
Yeah, so I'm 172 right now, and I want to see what my body looks like at 200. Maybe I'll look like a round potato,
200?
but we'll see.
Man,
We'll see.
that's-
Got to do it nice and steady.
heavyweight
1%
right
a day.
there.
Yeah.
Heavyweight. I know for me, I'm about 190 anyway. I might gain a little bit more weight as we go, but for me, general health is the core of my goal. I want to have longevity. I'm fascinated with biological age versus chronological age, and we could have a whole other 20-minute rant of me talking about biological
It's
age.
important that we're taking care of our bodies now so we can reap the benefits in the
Yeah.
future. I mean, I think of Warren Buffett. He's 92 years old. he's healthy. You know, he has a clear mind. He's
Yeah.
very successful.
Yeah.
He's constantly dealing with mathematics. You know, he's
Yeah.
constantly researching businesses.
He's a CEO of one of the largest companies on the planet, right?
And he acknowledges that the brain is and the mind is the most important tool that he has.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually a major inspiration. You know, me being in an executive role myself, I'm like, wow, look at this guy. He's 92. He's a genius by all accounts. He's one of the most renowned, known investors on the planet, and yet he's 92 and running a shareholders meeting. It fascinates me. And yet, for me, this is why I'm so focused on biological age and general health, right? So I take vitamin D, I take magnesium, I take a multi, I even take NAC. Jeremy, do you have? Thank you, sir. Whoa, whoa.
Tell me a little bit about NAC.
Okay, so this product fascinates me, and it's kind of cutting edge. It's maybe ahead of its time, and maybe it's premature to talk about.
Okay.
But NAC, I absolutely love it. I can't even pronounce it. It's funny. I love the ingredient. Can you pronounce that?
I thought it was gonna be easy to turn it around.
Inositol L-chrysietin.
And acetyl L. Yeah, you got it.
Chrysietin. Okay. So NAC for short. It's an Allmax product. We have it here in the store. It's well priced, but also, okay, getting back to what I said, this might be a year or two or maybe 5 premature in saying this. So there's research and development going on with this ingredient right now. It's allegedly very good for your mitochondria. And now you're saying, well, Chris, you can't even pronounce NAC. Now you use the word mitochondria. What's happening here?
And what is the mitochondria?
Mitochondria is this kind of goop in between your cells that
Powerhouse
helps.
of the cell.
Yeah, that helps with energy. It helps with general health. And in fact, I believe, and take that for whatever it's worth, just some guy who sells some protein. I believe mitochondria health will be a main focus in our medical field here in the next 5 to 7 years. So if you have healthy mitochondria, your immune system's probably better, your energy levels are probably better, you're probably sleeping better, you probably have a lower biological age. I could continue on and on and on. So keep in mind, at this point, it's what is it, pseudoscience, bro?
Pseudoscience.
It's bro science. It's
science.
very early. Yeah. But from what I see, I'm fascinated with NAC, and maybe I'm ahead of myself here, and I could be wrong. But I'm fascinated by it, and anything that can contribute to my health and longevity, I'm definitely
It's important.
Yeah,
to
I'm
look
paying
into
attention to.
Chris, if someone wanted to do some more research on that, where could they go to do that?
I think there's an interesting podcast with Huberman, Dr. Huberman. His podcast is called Huberman Labs, and I'd have to search up the specifics. But he had a psychologist on, and the psychologist would actually help treat people with mental illness through diet.
Yeah.
Right, diet, supplementation,
Makes a
right?
huge difference.
Makes a huge difference. And so this doctor has also committed himself to the thought process that mitochondria health can determine general health overall and longevity and immune system function and everything else. So the health of the cell is heavily reliant on mitochondria. Not to make this whole talk about mitochondria NAC, but NAC is definitely fascinating to me. It's not a need to have, it's a nice to have. And on that note, I'm just curious, like nice to have supplements to me is like a gainer or a pre-workout even, right?
Definitely.
But like in terms of a need to have supplement,
I think that's going to be more in the vitamin area, the lifestyle area, a lot of things that you're deficient that your body should have good amounts of, that for whatever reason, maybe your lifestyle, maybe your work life, you just don't have.
Yeah. Getting back to that vitamin D, magnesium, and a standard multi, I think that you've got a large amount of your bases covered.
Speaking of lifestyle, we're constantly busy, go nowadays. Jeremy, can you pass me the unwind? A lot of people could benefit from some adrenal support. We're constantly on our fight or flight mode. We have unhealthy levels of stress in our bodies. We never really get a chance to unwind. we do have some products here that will help supplement that, help you reduce your stress levels. We think of stress as thing that will, keep you anxious, low energy, but really it will also stop you from losing some weight, reaching your physical goals as well, mental goals. So it's very important that we take care of our mind as well, and we have, some adrenal support that will help you with that.
Yeah, so just to add to that, so we've talked about vitamin D, we've talked about magnesium, we've talked about a general multi, and now we've talked about a hormone support.
Hormone support, yeah.
Yeah, and on that note too, I think, males, as they get a little older, testosterone starts to drop. Another supplement that I would consider is a testosterone booster, right, with all natural ingredients. One ingredient that comes to mind is ashwagandha, right? So ashwagandha is great for hormone support, but it also, getting back to your point, great stress support.
Adrenal
right?
support, really. You can see one of the ingredients on here actually is ashwagandha. It's a very natural ingredient as well, so it's not high in chemicals. We carry different versions of ashwagandha. We do carry the roots, which studies show that is the most impactful one as well. It's very cost effective as well. I think one of our products that we carry, it's a 2-month supply for about $30. So it's
cost effective and very functional. Right, it's great for gut health, hormone.
Helps you lose some weight as well.
Oh man, it's just so functional.
Yeah.
And so so without throwing too much at you, so we're at vitamin D, magnesium, a multi, potential hormone support. The other one I'm going to throw in here is creatine. Now, I never would have thrown it in the general health section, but it's really come a long way. It's the most
studied supplement that we have in the store, apart from proteins, monohydrate specifically.
Yeah, monohydrate creatine. There's levels to creatine, but just for simplicity's sake, creatine back in the day was like, hey, if you lift, this is going to be great for recovery and performance, right?
But ATP production.
ATP production.
But new studies.
So it's great for energy levels and stuff like that. But now new studies are coming out where there is brain benefits, potential mood enhancing benefits.
Helps regulate the mood.
Yeah. So the studies are still ongoing. So again, I don't want to get too bro sciencey here. But I do expect over the next couple of years more research to be finalized around creatine, and I love creatine. I take
safe.
I take 5 grams of creatine monohydrate every single day, and
that's another product that's very cost effective as well. You buy one tub, I think it's 50 cents per serving. It lasts you most of the year. You don't have to think about buying another tub for a long time.
Yeah, and then the last product I would actually throw in here in terms of supplementation, and then we'll get into some food products here. The last product I would throw in here is protein. I think it's a simplistic, must-have protein. Even if you're not lifting weight, it's just so beneficial to have protein in your body.
Get the daily protein amounts. I mean, if you're a student, you're only eating ramen. There's no protein in there. You don't have time because you're constantly at exams, you're constantly studying. A scoop of protein can make a life difference. And we have so many different types of proteins as well. If you can't do lactose, we have a little bit more refined ones. Hydrolyzed protein could be for you. We have animal-based protein, and obviously we have some vegan protein as well, which have really come a long way as well. I remember vegan protein in terms of taste.
It's like sandpaper.
Yes, and now we just got the blessed protein in.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet.
Tastes amazing.
Oh, I've got to try that. I love having you on because you coach like 20 people on how to provide recommendations and to help people recommend supplements to others,
it can
right?
be intimidating walking into the store if you don't know about anything.
It can be.
I remember the first time I came into a supplement store, I only wanted C4. All my buddies were taking C4. As far as I knew, C4 was the only supplement in there. So I walked into the store and I see walls of supplements. It can be intimidating, and again, that's where the supplement advisors come in. They guided me towards the right supplements for me.
Yeah, and so the segue I'm kind of going into is like even women, I think, have a misconception around protein, right? Even just because you're not doing heavy squats or bench press, what would you say to a 25, 35-year-old female that walked into the store and she thought, oh, I don't want to take protein. I don't want to be a bodybuilder. I don't want my shoulders to get huge, right? What would you typically advise, the 20 or so people on how to handle that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a common misconception that, if you start lifting heavy, you're going to get those bulky muscles. But really, protein, is a building block of muscles, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have that protein, doesn't matter what kind of goals you're reaching for, if your body doesn't have the fuel, the nutrients to create that muscle, you're not going to be able to meet those goals.
And in the general health aspect, if a female came into the store, I said, well, what's your goal? And she said, well, I want to lose some weight. I would actually encourage her to take protein.
100%.
Right.
When we are losing weight, the body will start, using different energy sources. You might lose a little bit of muscle. And a great way to minimize the amount of muscle that we lose is that we take protein. If your body has the right amount of protein to maintain that muscle, you're not going to lose it as much, right?
Yeah.
Just because you're losing weight doesn't mean that you can't tone your body.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful supplement, and I think it's one of the core supplements for general health. Not only can it help you maintain your muscle as you age, so it's great for longevity, but you can also take the protein as well for just general health. It'll help you burn fat and be leaner. So
the last thing you want is your body to go into survival mode and retain to as much fat as possible.
Yeah. So let's end on this. We got food products. We got some food products here.
Can we get the GQs? Thank you, sir. So again, supplementation is meant to enrich the last two steps. Now you can have the healthiest diet in the world. If it's bland, you're not going to stick to it. We are human. There's no reason why there shouldn't be flavor in your life. And a lot of people think that means sacrificing a little bit on the healthy side. But we do carry a lot of food products in the store that
taste great.
Absolutely amazing.
Incredible.
As a Mexican, I need to choose the mango habanero one. I'm going to say it's not very spicy, but it's absolutely delicious. It adds a lot of flavor. Sugar-free. With a lot of flavor to chicken and rice, whatever you want to eat.
Yeah, and we got like low-calorie bars and snacks
let's
and cookies and chips and
5 calories.
Sauces.
Yeah, 5 calories.
So Pablo, should we use supplements? Is supplements horrible for us, or is it great? Is it going to solve the world's problems? Am I going to live to 200?
You might not live to 200 just yet. Maybe with a neck. Who knows? Maybe some studies will come out. But again, as long as you use it as a tool to, again, supplement and enrich the other two steps, which is dieting and exercising, it could definitely be a very useful tool that will enrich your life.
So just to review very quickly, we talked about creatine, we talked about NAC, we talked about protein, we talked about ashwagandha. We talked about
some adrenal support.
Yes, sauces and snacks,
vitamin D, magnesium.
Vitamin D, magnesium, and a multi. And I think that really covers a lot of general health topics in the store. I know it seems loaded, but just like I said in the beginning, if you don't have all the answers, that's fine. Come into the store. This is why we train our staff.
We're here for really to break it down step by step. This whole video, again, they'll break it down step by step.
Yeah. So thank you, Pablo, for joining me on this first attempt. To try and break down a very difficult subject of supplementation. And for a guy who trains, 20 people in the day-to-day, Pablo is the guy you want to learn from primarily. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. On to the next one then. Hey, Jeremy.
On
to the next one. Okay, thank you. See ya. Jeremy brought up a good point. We don't know what topic to talk about next. I mean, there's so many conversations to be had. So what conversations should we be having? What do you want to hear about? Is it creatine? Is it protein? Is it something that we haven't even mentioned here today? So we'd love to hear from you.